We have only 6 days testing this year, which means that every minute you are not out on the racetrack, you will lose performance.
I miss it so much.
I think that we have a good car, but how good we will see then when we go to the races.
You always are excited for the next race. In this case it's Melbourne and Bahrain, they're back to back this year. It's going to be an exciting couple of weeks.
We'll try our best to be in the best position possible in Australia.
Pandemic. Popular tournament cancelled.
Unfortunately, COVID-19 erupted into the paddock of Formula One.
The McLaren team member tested positive.
And then we literally were put on hold.
It's just the latest in a series of events that have stunned the sports world.
Buongiorno.
Okay, Danny, how big is this year going to be for you?
It's always a big year. We have had quite a few changes in the team name, of course the livery. We hope that we did a good homework over the winter, and hopefully it will be a strong challenger for strong races.
2020 obviously was a new year for us really. The car's been rebranded as a whole team, and I think the image that's been portrayed is fantastic.
Good evening everybody, and welcome here to Hangar 7 in Salzburg, Austria. But we're also broadcasting live to millions of people around the world the launch and the car reveal of the AlphaTauri Formula One team.
It's a fresh start, it's a fresh impetus, it's another name on the grid, it's another look on the grid.
So you happy with Jan going to the pedal?
In the winter break I could really focus on myself to improve physically, mentally. It just feels nice to see the same faces, same mechanics, same engineers for the first time in my career.
Car feels good, everything's stable.
So we went off to Barcelona with our brand new car, our brand new Scuderia AlphaTauri 01, for 6 days testing, about 4 months ago now. And we probably weren't quite in the shape we wanted to be in, but we still believe we've got a good process and procedures going forward that we can develop it in the right direction.
Yeah, how was being back in the office?
Oh, it was so good. Honestly, I missed it a lot over winter, and just finally to get a first taste of the beast is really nice.
Car felt good, it was working nice, and steers left, right, brakes, accelerates, so it's good.
It's always something special to go to Melbourne because it's the first race of the season. We all are sitting in the aeroplane not knowing what's going on, what's really going on. Yeah, is the car performing well? Is the team doing a good job?
We went off to Australia, we believed in pretty good shape. The team was fully hyped. I think, yeah, we were all excited just to get there and get racing after a long winter.
Everything was reasonably normal heading up to Melbourne. Obviously there was a lot of news talking about how COVID-19 was affecting the world, but right up until the point we got there it looked like it was going to be feasible to race. But it rapidly changed during the hours leading up to Friday morning.
It's now been confirmed Formula One season opening Australian Grand Prix in Melbourne has been cancelled given the current coronavirus situation.
We were sharing the hotel with McLaren Racing, and around 10, maybe 9:30, 10 o'clock, I had a message from team manager at McLaren saying, just to let you know that we have a positive case in this hotel. After that, there was lots of meetings between team principals, FIA, Formula One management, trying to understand, do we go ahead with the weekend or do we disappoint the fans? Ultimately, the decision was taken to abandon the weekends. I remember running into the garage and saying, look, don't start the engines, we're not going to go out in this first session. Then our attention really turned from going Grand Prix racing to how do we safely get our people home, back to their families and loved ones. There's nothing more important in life than your health and your family.
Until Friday morning it seemed like we will go racing, and then suddenly you're quite pumped up to go racing, you have adrenaline rush, and then they tell you, okay, it's not happening.
It's a big disappointment not only for Scuderia AlphaTauri, it was a big disappointment for all the Formula 1 teams, for all the fans. But at the end, FIA and FOM, in my opinion, made the absolute correct decision to cancel the race.
And so that night home, it's a long flight. How were you feeling?
Yeah, it was a very bad feeling because we all didn't know what's going on. And I remember when I came back, I landed in Rome, went by car to Faenza, and it's around 2.5 hours, but maybe I saw 10 cars. And I felt already that something strange is going on. The days later, the Italian president decided that companies have to be closed, that people are not allowed to go to work anymore. This was then when we also started our shutdown. That means teams were not allowed to develop anything.
It was pretty scary initially because Italy was one of the first place to be touched. Tried to stay in touch with the guys and the people in the team just to make sure everybody was okay.
It's not the rhythm of the life that we are used to. But there comes a point after maybe a month and a half when you're like, okay, I had enough rest now, I'm ready to go again.
It was an evolving situation in the early weeks of shutdown. It went from a 3-week shutdown and then was extended. And then constant updates preparing on when we'd be getting back to work.
We didn't know exactly when we can start the season, and my really hope was Austria. Fortunately, the Austrian government decided that the race can happen, and this was really, let me say, like a star that we saw, something is going on.
Over the last few weeks, the calendar started to firm up, so we're sort of reacting quickly. But I think this is one of the strengths of Formula 1. We are capable of doing this, and this sort of very fluid situation is not totally alien to us. It just means we have to think on our feet and be super flexible, really.
Messo? Buongiorno.
Vediamo qua.
Facciamo qualcos'altro?
No, siamo a posto. Adesso io metto nel sacchettino sigillato questo tampone e speriamo che vada tutto bene.
Grazie mille, buona giornata.
Anche a te, ciao, buona giornata. Before you head to Austria, what do you have to do?
We have to do a lot within 1.5 weeks. First of all, we said that the cars which were in Australia are completely disassembled. We have to check all the parts, that everything works well.
You got earplugs in? Get some earplugs, dude. I'll wait for you. You only get 2 ears for a lot.
Yeah.
No worries. Are you ready?
So this will be the last repetition actually when we come back from the debut race at the end of the year.
After the 60-day break of no work, it's been odd actually. Also come back to the factory, a little bit of trepidation, but obviously excited.
Everyone's ready?
Is everybody ready? We're as ready as we're going to be.
Radio check.
The plan for this morning is to do some pit stop training with the mechanics. It's been quite a while since we needed live stops, so over the last 2 to 3 weeks we've been sort of getting back into the groove with pit stop training twice a day.
We have every day 2 sessions, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, with 10 repeats. Before the first race starts, they should have done more than 300 pit stops.
Okay, same again. Good job.
For the training sessions, the thing we're looking for is to give the guys the ability to react in the real world when things aren't going well. You know, it's easy to do a pit stop when everything's going perfectly, but it's when those moments come along that are maybe a little bit not expected. You know, it gives them experience of that. And on top of that, obviously repetition and training gives them the ability to hone their skills, and then hopefully, you know, we get faster and faster. Ultimately, the goal is to be fast. It's also the goal to be safe. And the car needs to leave with the 4 wheels connected.
Okay, 2 more.
You know, all going well. If we have a good session, we should come out with an average around 2 seconds.
Go.
Can we do this in a Grand Prix? Be good, eh?
2.1, the slowest.
2.1 was the slowest. I'd take that any day of the week.
How's everyone's fitness levels after 3 months at home?
When you look at the push bike sales over the last 8 weeks, it's clear that people have been using physical activity as a means to sort of take themselves out of their situation.
So regarding the drivers, I was in contact with them during the shutdown. I said to them, please train as hard as possible. You need it for the second half of the season. Both drivers went out karting, which is also important training, especially for the mental side, just to get the feeling for sliding, for turning in. If a driver is not fit enough, he will not stand the race up to the end without any accident or spin or whatever.
I've seen Danny's been doing some boxing.
Danny is doing some boxing, yeah. And I just asked him, hopefully he will still fit within the headrest, but he says there's no problem. He looks very fit, yes. Therefore, be careful with him, yeah? Otherwise he will have some blue eyes.
We will do the fire up. As soon as Montuski and Lorenzo are ready, I am ready.
Okay.
Check. 1, 2.
Ahmed, can you hear me?
No, I can hear you. Franz, how are you doing? Not good?
Well, everything is going quite well here in Italy. The big moment was to assemble the cars after this long break, and then, of course, firing up the engines.
Start cranking.
Heard once more the music of the Honda power units.
I couldn't really wait to see the car next week here in Austria, and I'm really looking forward.
AlphaTauri was born in Austria. The first race will happen in Austria. And therefore, we are more than excited to see the car first time in Spielberg. The Hangar 7 launch event was for us quite a big milestone.
AlphaTauri fuses premium fashion with function and is driven by innovation.
And our aim is to put added value in every item we are designing.
We are proud to be part of this journey.
Today we are in our production department. All the composite parts that we use on the car are completely designed and produced in AlphaTauri.
And what's happening here right now?
Right now we are preparing our chassis for the Austrian Grand Prix. We have to rush to guarantee that every single part that we need at the race will be ready.
I think the key point in all of this, in addition to getting the best out of the package and getting our drivers back up to speed in ourselves, is communication. Any doubts, anything you're not sure of, raise your hand and ask. It's better to ask than to let something roll and it turn into something big. I think everyone's motivated coming off the back of last year. It's okay having a car that's quick and competitive. You've got to be able to develop it. If you don't develop in Formula 1, you go backwards, you don't stand still.
This year, Honda worked really hard in Sakura. The power unit is better. Therefore, I expect a very strong, powerful and reliable engine. The team never before had drivers with such a high experience, and the team is making progress. It's much more stabilized now. Therefore, I expect that Scuderia AlphaTauri will have a good season.
I think when you've got a competitive car, you want to get out there and race, really. Everyone's worked hard to minimise the effect. We can get racing again. It's a compressed season, going to be very busy, so there's a lot of different strands of activity.
We are literally about a fortnight away from Austria Grand Prix. We've got this week to finish the car builds.
We have to check all the parts, that everything works well. A nightmare would be going out Friday, free practice 1, and the car stops at the track.
We're running a filming day in Imola. We're going to run the Scuderia AlphaTauri 01 car, which will be for filming purposes. And then we're also going to run an old STR13 Toro Rosso car to give the drivers just a chance for a bit of acclimatisation. Been a long time since they were in a Formula 1 car, and a Formula 1 car is an incredibly fast piece of kit.
The track is really cool, it's old school, like I like it, you know, really fast corners.
It's very important, just that the drivers get used to the speed. The brakes get used to the acceleration, get used to the steering, get used to the G-forces.
Very excited, very energized, you know, it's been long waiting. We just need to, you know, control our excitement and just keep doing our job as if there was no break.
Today was really incredible because yeah, after such a long wait, I just felt amazing to be back in the cars. I was really excited when I woke up this morning, and yeah, I'm gonna fall asleep with a lot of positive energy tonight as well.
Coming back today for the first time is definitely giving it that proper feeling of real world. We've been pretty much on ice since back in March. I think we arrived back from Australia around the 16th of March, so we're sort of planning and getting prepared, ready to go to Austria and hopefully have a great weekend.
Exciting to see everyone. I feel like the work never really stopped. Everyone's sharp, everyone's on it. Myself also, you know, I feel like nothing is really lost. We are back in the game, you know, like before.
Are you looking forward to Austria?
Yeah, I am actually. It's fantastic that we've been able to get racing again. It's a difficult event, it's a demanding track. It's hard on the cars, it's hard on the drivers. It's a home race for AlphaTauri, and it's one we want to get there and put a good show on with.
There is a huge amount of FIA paperwork now attached to COVID-19. We don't want people in the paddock who aren't there for a reason. We don't want to take unnecessary risks with people's health. It's a bit of a balancing act, but COVID-19 and the safety of the team is priority at the moment.
There is an expectation, you know, you always want to do better. But there's also a lot of internal pressure to put the show on we're capable of doing, and making sure we get the best out of the package every weekend.
And what are your hopes for the 2020 season?
I hope that we will finish the season within the front part of the midfield, and the target is the 5th place in the Constructors' Championship.
Exciting.
That's exciting, yes.